we do anything else, we are going to just go through a couple of the quick requests that we have for you. Firstly, we only have a short amount of time. Any time with this man is amazing, but we do want an opportunity to get through as many questions as we can. So please make sure that you get straight to your question when I come to you. Keep them short and brief and to the point. We will cover as many as we can, but we won't get through everybody. We will try. Please also note that write-ups from this interview are embargoed until Friday, the 20th of November, ahead of Survivor Series. With that, there is one thing left to do, and that is to welcome the man himself. So let's get him connected through. First things first. And let's bring you here. Great. First things first. Taker, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you quite well, thanks.
Perfect. Well, firstly, thank you so much for joining us. Really important day, really exciting. We're going to get straight into things. So first things first, we're going to go over to Australia. And we're going to have a question first from Nims over at SEN in Australia. Nims, go ahead.
So the Undertaker versus Triple H was the main event of Super Showdown in Melbourne, Australia. 72,000 fans for the first ever live pay-per-view event from Down Under. How much pressure did that put on you, knowing after seeing the documentary, The Last Ride, you're a man that holds yourself to a very, very high standard. This is a very big event. It's the first of its kind. How much pressure and preparation did you have going into the event from Melbourne, Australia?
You know, anytime you do an event of that magnitude, and you're the headliner on the card, there's always that little bit of pressure and the fact that you want to be able to steal the show. Fortunately, you know, I was in there with somebody like Triple H, you know, and I knew that, you know, okay, that part's going to take care of itself. You know, you just always have that pressure. Like you said, you just have that pressure on you to make sure that 72,000 fans leave happy, or at least leave entertained. And especially someplace like Australia, which I've always loved to go to. And the fans being so, what's the word, rabid, you know, and loving our content. So, yeah, you definitely wanted to make sure that we delivered on you know, our match.
Well, you certainly did. You exceeded all expectations there. And obviously, one of the biggest shows of its kind. How much different is it of a mindset to sort of go from this is just a tour overseas to this is a marquee event like a WrestleMania, but it's not a WrestleMania?
Yeah, anytime that you start getting into the stadium shows, you know, all the stakes are higher. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter how many matches you had, but when there's that many people there, I mean, it just creates that huge atmosphere. You know, and the energy that, you know, people are excited because you know, the fans get excited when they look around and they see 72,000 people and they know they're part of something special. You know, they're part of it. That's the great thing about WWE, is like the fans are such an integral part of what we do. And so it just kind of one feeds off of the other. You know, the fans, their excitement gets us excited to go out and do our best. And then, you know, the fans feed back off of us. If you're, you know, we're tearing it down and having a great match, you know, it just kind of works itself up into this crescendo. And, you know, it's always special when you do a stadium show and you have it, you know, as long as the stadium's full, which it was that night. You know, it's not so great when the stadium's not full, but it's a good time.
Snuck an extra question in there. So a reminder of one question each, please, but all good. We're going to come next to Enrico from Build in Germany. Enrico, if you just unmute. Enrico, coming to you now.
Sorry, now. Thanks for your time. So what is your plan B? after next Sunday? So maybe your storyline brother has become a politician. So what could be a second career for you?
You know, I don't know. I really hadn't figured that part out yet. You know, I'm still kind of looking back and somewhat amazed at 30 years. Well, it's been 30 plus years. I've been 30 years with the WWE, but you know, I think all total, it's been close, almost 34 years that I've been in the wrestling industry. And I don't think, you know, I don't think that I'm not going to be part of the WWE after Sunday. I mean, I'll always have my place. And, you know, one of the things that really interests me a lot are, you know, paying it forward, meaning, you know, working with the talent that's coming up and trying to give them some of my insight and my experience. And, you know, although the product is changing and evolving, I think there's a lot of what I did in aspects to storytelling that's missing in today's game. So I think that's where, you know, I think I can be an asset to the guys of the next, you know, the next generation, guys and gals of the next generation. And then, you know, secondly, you know, I've been, you know, I've contained myself within the character for so long. You know, I'm creating more opportunities now to get out and, you know, and meet with my fans and have interactions, more personal interactions, you know, with signings and different things. So I really enjoy that and getting to hear, you know, some of my fans' stories and how the character has, you know, affected their lives. So it's all that's good. So although I may not be, you know, in the ring very often, you know, I'll still be around.
We're going to come next to Furio at GQ Italy. Furio, if you unmute, there we go.
Yeah. Hello, thanks for time. And just one question. What will you miss most of the life you left behind?
The fans. Absolutely the fans. And the energy and the motivation, the strength that they all give me. You know, there's so many nights when, you know, I'd be on the road for, you know, way back in the day, I'd be on the road for 30, 40 days in a row and come to, you know, about day 30 in a tour and not know where you're going to draw that energy from to go out there and perform at a level that you did early on in that tour. And it was always the fans and their appreciation for what we do. And for me personally, the character being so invested in it and supporting me for so long. That's going to be the hardest part for me is not walking out, hearing that music, the light going out, and then the reception from my fans. That's what sustained me for so long.
We'll come next to Hassam at Arab News in the Middle East. Hassam, if you unmute, there we go.
Okay. All right. So, you know, in your lengthy, illustrious, legendary career, you have been in first kinds of all sorts of matches, from boiler room brawls to Punjabi prison matches to casket matches to Hell in a Cell to, I mean, so these are all, you know, when you participated in these matches in the beginning, were very innovative, very new and everything. And how do you prepare for all these kind of special matches? And how does it vary, you know, since you've been in virtually every kind of match there is? Well,
you know, you have to prepare mentally. So one, you have to go back, like when you're thinking about your match, you have to look at everything that you've done that led up to that particular match. Because obviously, if you're going to have a buried alive match, there's had to have been some serious things happen along the way to get to the point where you want to bury somebody alive. So you've got to kind of go back and reflect on all that. Because like I said, with me, it's always about storytelling. It's not so much about the moves and all that. It's always about the story. So you take that into consideration first, and then you figure out, okay, what is the prop, or what is it a casket, right? So if it's a casket match, then for preparation, you're like, oh, how many different ways can I use a casket to hurt somebody? I mean, then hurt them bad enough that I can, incapacitate them enough to place their body in that casket. So, those are the kind of things that you have to think about and process, and then figure out how you're going to, how you're going to do it. And, there's a lot of those matches, like Buried Alive and, the Hell in the Cells and the Inferno match. That one was, that was interesting. There wasn't any rehearsing anything on that one. Believe me, that was just out there doing it and hoping that I wasn't the one that got caught on fire. As morbid as that sounds, but I guess it fits for what I do.
We'll come next to Alex McCarthy at TalkSport in the UK.
Hey, so what I wanted to touch on was looking at your lengthy career and stuff. There's been a lot of great moments that have kind of been touched on in various documentaries and whatnot. But one of my all-time favorites is the ladder match you had with Jeff Hardy in 2002. And you talking earlier about paying it forward and all of that great stuff. And I felt like that was a great match that really made Jeff. I just wondered if you had some thoughts on it, like the reaction backstage after, if you knew you'd hit a home run. And is that one of your more proud matches for, elevating someone? And if not, who is?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, and a lot of people don't understand that aren't in the business, that, someone can lose and get elevated at the same time, just by their performance against someone like, the Undertaker, who had been there for so long and had done so many things. So I pride myself on the fact that I was able to do that for quite a few people along the way. I do remember getting to the arena that day, and I had no clue that I was in a ladder match till I got there that day. And I was like, I wasn't real thrilled about it. I was just like, yeah, it's really not, it's not my forte. It's not what I do best. But it really did, it did put a shine on Jeff and the things that he did. And it was good because it took me out of my comfort zone, made me try to, reach for, something else that, I was like, because I wanted the match to obviously be successful. And we were fortunate that it was very successful. But, those are the kind of things that happen that just help you creatively, because you do get comfortable sometimes doing the same kind of things. And, it pushed me, and then it also allowed me to push Jeff, and then him be able to shine in his kind of match. So I'm very proud of that match. I think it might have been the only one that I was ever in. I can't think off the top of my head of another one. So we got it right the first time. I didn't have to do it again.
We'll come next to Srivatsan at The Hindu in India.
Hi, Mr. Taker. Firstly, huge fan. I just have this silly fanboy question. How does it feel to be this towering figure, a hero for a whole generation of fans out there for 30 plus years?
It's very humbling. And, when you're in the midst of my career and, when I'm out there all the time and I'm working all the time, you kind of get just zoned in on your performances, and you don't really think about, you're affecting people by the reaction that you get when you come out, but you don't really think about how you affect people on a personal level that you don't even know. And that's what I was talking about a little earlier about getting out and doing more appearances and signings and getting an opportunity to meet my fans on a more personal level, is to hear their stories. of, I was really going through this horrible time. And then, it was always great on such and such night when wrestling would come on and I'd get to watch you. And it really helped me through these difficult times. You don't think about that on a day-to-day basis, how what you do affects people's lives. And sometimes it gives them hope. And then sometimes it gives them the courage to do something that they don't want to do. So it's really humbling that you have that kind of effect on people, and you can't take advantage of that, and you can't understate that, because you do have a vital part in people's everyday life. It's so humbling, it really is.
We'll come next to Marco at Corriere dello Sport in Italy.
Hey, it's an honor for me to talk with you. If you weren't the Undertaker, the Phenom, what other wrestling legend would you have liked to be?
Like another character, another superstar that's already established, or just something completely different?
Another superstar.
Oh man, I don't know. It'd be pretty tough not to want to be Ric Flair. I mean, he was just like the epitome of success and being world champion and all the things that come with that. I just always thought Ric Flair's character was, it was just so over the top, but not really, because that's really Ric Flair. But he's kind of the bar for which guys of my generation measured themselves, as far as success. And he had obviously a tremendous, and continues to have a tremendous career. So I guess it'd be the Nature Boy. That's about as far off from the Undertaker as you can get.
We come next to Alistair McGeorge at Metro in the UK.
Hey man, how's it going?
Good, very good.
Good. So much has been made about Brock Lesnar being the one to end the streak. So I was kind of wondering, first of all, did you want the streak to end at all? And if so, who would your dream pick have been to have that honor?
I guess, selfishly, you don't want it to end. I mean, it's, it was great because it allowed me at that point in my career. I only had to work once or twice a year. And that was physically, that was taxing in its own right, is preparing for WrestleMania each year. I don't think, like I said, and I've said this before, I don't think Brock needed that win. I had no problem doing it, obviously. I just don't think that he was the guy that needed it. I think, I think Roman Reigns or Bray Wyatt would have elevated them quicker to, a higher status. I think probably Roman could have used the victory more so than anybody, because I think, Bray Wyatt and his development of the Fiend now is going to catapult him to that next level. So current roster, I'd have to say it would have been Roman. He should have probably, if you're going to break it, it probably should have been him.
We'll come next to Kevin Clifton at Gorilla Position Podcast. You just hit unmute, Kevin. There we go.
Hi, massive honor to speak to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've been spoken about as being a locker room leader in the WWE for many years. What kind of qualities do you think make a good locker room leader? And who do you see coming through in the current crop of superstars to maybe take on that kind of responsibility?
I think it all starts with trust. Initially, the guys have got to trust you, and then you have to also be able to display a work ethic. With me, business always come first above everything else. yes, we went out at night. We had a great time at night, but that was never an excuse not to give 100%, regardless of how you felt. And also, I think people seeing me go out and perform injured and probably not being early on in those days, should have probably not gone to the ring to work, and watch me go out and do what I could because people had paid money to see me wrestle. And you know, I think people look at that and think, well, this what we're doing is not just for fun. This is serious. And you know, I think just being someone that you can talk to, regardless of who you were on the card. If you had an issue or you had something, I mean, I've been around a while for a while. So there wasn't a lot that I haven't experienced, or, you know, so all those things kind of come into play, but having the trust, not only of the corporate side, but having the trust of the talent. I think they appreciated where I sit in that the balance of both. And knowing that, you know, one of the talent may have a corporate issue, and them feeling comfortable enough to come talk to me. So that's where I started this whole thing, was trust, and knowing that, you know, if you had a problem and you really wanted to solve it, that I would do my best to, you know, I do my best to help you or give you the best advice I had, or maybe would help you get, you know, your situation, you know, resolved without too much drama. But you know, I kind of, you know, I'm honored and humbled by, you know, my peers that they've always considered me that. It wasn't something that I lobbied for or I tried to be. It just kind of happened. And you know, it's with the class of people that I've been able to share a locker room with, for them to, you know, think so highly of me is very humbling, and it's an honor, really.
We'll come next to Gray Morkel at Channel 24 in South Africa.
Hi, it's such an honor once again, like everybody else, to be talking to you today. In the last 30 plus years, there's been plenty of ups and downs, from injuries, titles, the friendships. But what has been the biggest life lesson that you've learned in your career at WWE?
Probably the biggest life lesson is not taking anything for granted, and not not taking anything for granted, and live in the moment, because obviously in our world, on any given night, in any given match, you're only an inch or two away from something really catastrophic happening to you. You know, most people don't think about it. And you know, as a talent, you definitely don't want to think about it. But as great as everything is, and you're on top of the world, you know, it could all come to an end. So, you know, appreciate the things that you have, and live in the moment, and you know, treat people. You know, my philosophy: treat people the way you want to be treated, and you know, that's one of the biggest philosophies that I try to instill in anybody that comes up. You know, is make sure that you treat people, you know, treat people with respect, whether, you know, they're here on the card, or they're here on the card, or if they're not even a talent, even if they were, you treat everybody the same, because we're all in this together. And if we're all in it together, then the product and everything's going to be better for our fans.
Right, we've got time for a couple more, which we'll squeeze in. So we're first going to come to Alfonso, who's at Red Gol in Chile.
Thanks, Joel. Hi, Undertaker. First of all, thanks for all memories in the name of the fans around the world. My question. No, you're welcome. My question is about the fans, the importance of the fans. What's your opinion about the Latin American fans, and especially the Chilean fans who remember you fondly?
Man, I'll give you an example. When we came down, I was still on the road working pretty much a full schedule. and we came down on tour to Chile, and it was absolutely crazy how excited the Chilean fans were. I remember them just being a mass of people outside our hotel. And then when our buses would leave the hotel to go to the arena, there would be 200-300 people running down the road with our buses. They were just so exciting, wanted to get a glimpse of somebody through the curtain. And just, it was so refreshing and so exciting to, one, be coming to, you know, a new country and performing for the first time, and then having that kind of reception. It was tremendous. Really, really appreciate it.
We're going to come next to Dan Marland at Sport Bible in the UK.
Hi, Taker. Massive honor to speak to you.
Thank you.
We've spoken a lot about the things that you have done in your legendary career, but is there anything that you didn't get to do that you wish you did? Whether it was an opponent that you never got to face or a longer feud that you never had to have, is there anyone that sticks out in your mind?
You know what? I really, although I'm super proud of the Boneyard match, I wish I would have liked to have had a quote traditional kind of match with AJ Styles in a wrestling ring. I told him, you know, on several occasions, man, I wish you'd have got here 10, 15 years earlier. Cause I love the way he works. I love what he does in the ring. I've kind of called him the modern day Shawn Michaels. I just, as proud as I am of the Boneyard, I would have loved to have had an extended program with AJ Styles.
We're going to come to Saul at Record in Mexico.
Hey, Taker, big fan here.
Thank you.
How would you describe the importance of the storytelling in the professional wrestling, and especially in the Undertaker's career and all the things around him?
Storytelling at the root is what we do, and that's what I try to tell. That's what I try to tell the young talent. Because right now, if you watch our product, as gifted as our athletes are, and they are physically unbelievably gifted, more so than ever any other point. But what we do is storytelling, and you know, and that's the most important part in my opinion. It's not about the wrestling moves. We use wrestling moves to help tell our stories, but it's all about that's where, you know, that's what captivates and keeps people interested in what we do, is just the mental and the heartfelt issues. Like, one of the best things that I've seen done on WWE TV recently is the feud between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. That's, to me, has been great storytelling. And people that understand, and there's people especially that understand like the Samoan heritage and legacy, know how important, you know, all that stuff is to them. So yeah, it's to me, it starts and finishes with the story.
We're going to come for our final question to Xavier Ramos at Mundo Deportivo in Spain.
Hello, how are you? We are big fans, all of you, and it's a dream to be here with you. So,
well, thank you.
After 30 years of fighting around the world with the streak, the victories, all in all kinds of matches, the large amount of championships, is there anything you miss in your to-do list? Maybe a match, a place, or an opponent?
Man, I've wrestled all over the world. I've wrestled just about everybody of my generation, and there's really not a lot. I think I you know, just due to certain things, I probably wish I'd had maybe one of my title reigns a little longer. I think one of the last times I won the title was going to be an extended reign, and I end up tearing a bicep or something. I don't remember. But I mean, really, when I look back at my career, I mean, I've experienced so much and was able to do so much that I really, there's not a lot to look back and say, I missed that, or, you know, I didn't do that. I would have loved to, you know, like I said, I would have loved to have worked a longer program with AJ Styles. I would have loved to have worked a program with Eddie Guerrero. But you know, after 30 years, there's just not a whole lot that I didn't get to, you know, I didn't get to accomplish, and very proud of that.
Based on that, let's do one bonus question. Let's come to Stephanie Chase for Digital Spy in the UK.
Hi, Undertaker. So awesome to get to talk to you.
Thank you.
The character is something that you really seem to live. So at what point did you feel like you really enveloped the character? And did doing that, do you think, ever have a negative effect on your life outside the ring?
Not really. So the character, and you know, Mark Calloway and the character, really, they intersected almost immediately. Once, you know, obviously I was given the name first without a lot of background. And then I went up to Stanford, met with Vince, and then he showed me, you know, like they had storyboards of what the character was going to look like and what he was going to be all about. And immediately, you know, I gravitated towards it. You know, at that time in my life, you know, I had a little bit of a dark side on me anyway. And so a lot of the stuff it really resonated with me. And once I started studying, like, okay, how am I going to make this my own? You know, how am I going to make this character my own? And once I started studying different things, and it just, yeah, they just meshed together, and you basically became one entity. Negatively, I think the only thing, and it was kind of by choice, but I mean, I had to become somewhat of a recluse in my personal life. But you know, that wasn't so bad because, you know, early on, you know, I was on the road all the time, year round. You know, I had an 8-9 year stretch there where I averaged 250, 260 dates a year on the road. So I wasn't really looking to come home and, you know, and have this big social life anyway. But even if I had, you know, I would have had to assess, you know, I had to assess where I was going to go eat or where I was going to go, because I didn't want people seeing me not being Undertaker. So it was just, my mindset was so, you know, engrossed in making sure that character was legitimate and people identified with it that way. So it was just something that I adapted and made part of my life. And, you know, I mean, it's not horribly negative, but I mean, that's the best I can give you for the most part.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much, everyone, for your time. But of course, huge thanks and central thanks must go to The Undertaker for granting us such a special audience. It just goes to say, as a final word, obviously, don't miss Survivor Series a week from Sunday, live around the world on the award-winning WWE Network. With that, thank you to all of you. Thank you, Taker. And you may now all disconnect.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.